like the skeleton of Larry King, we are here once again with the Cena Podcast here on the Monkey Caviar Podcast Network. I'm TinyYourHost. With me, as always, the now newly brightened Adam Levy. Adam, welcome out of the dark ages.
How you doing, Mike?
Wow, look at you. I can see you and everything.
Ooh, it's all just bright and shiny.
You are a happy, shiny person. REM would be proud.
There you go.
All right. Well, how was your week?
Oh, it wasn't too bad. Went back to work. The vacation's over.
That sucks. Sorry.
It was going to happen sooner or later.
I'm on a constant vacation. My life is a vacation.
That sounds nice.
It's not that bad. I told you we could have done good out here.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get on to with this. This would be a really weird podcast if we were in the same house on different floors.
Just screaming down to each other. Ready to go.
Hi, man.
Stomping on the floor.
That would have been really funny, though. Upstairs, downstairs podcast. All right. Let me start the episode here. I got the sound turned off. So first thing I want to shout out is Tulip's ass in those jeans.
Yeah, Ruth Negga is an attractive woman, I got to say.
I don't want to be a pig, but since no one listens to the show anyway, damn. Those jeans deserve a co-starring credit in this show.
Yeah, I got to say that, for a show that doesn't have a lot of female characters, they have done a good job of casting the ones they do have.
I agree with that.
And not just based on looks. I mean, because they do have some attractive women, but the women they get really, they really bring it to the roles. Ruth Negga, the actress that plays Featherstone, she's great. Yeah, I mean, they've done a great job with the casting.
So Tulip decides not to shoot Grandma in the head early on. This is a theme we're going to come back to several times. As Tulip decides whether or not to kill this old woman.
Yeah,
I
called it though, didn't I? Though.
Yeah, you did. You were dead right about it. So we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, I know. It's early.
So TC drags Pig in for Cassidy, but Cassidy's flown the coop thanks to the skin suit. Gets you away every time.
Yeah. I mean, you think they would have done a better job of maybe trying to secure him, knowing, that he'd gotten that once before with Jesse's help at least. But, clearly they didn't learn their lesson the first time.
If you think that keeping people locked up is TC and Jody's forte, it should have been based on what we saw in the tombs.
Yeah, exactly.
But they upstairs, they got no clue what's going on at all.
To be fair, most of the people they had locked up in the tombs, and in fact, probably all of the people they had locked up in the tombs, didn't have supernatural strength or, things like that, And although they haven't really shown Cassidy as having superhuman strength like he does in the comic books, he is a bit stronger than, from what it seems in the show, though, Jody's stronger than Cassidy, but
it's because Jody was bombed by gamma radiation early on, and we didn't see that.
He's redneck strong.
Redneck strong. That's strong, man. So I like that Tulip goes up to Jesse, and she's like, "Man, I want to kill your grandma." He's like, "Can't kill grandma." And then they hear Jody and TC, and he's like, "You ready for a fist fight?" And she's like, "Yeah, why not?"
They're standing at the door waiting for it. They're in the fighting positions. They're waiting for it to come, and all of a sudden you see a pair of feet sliding down from the ceiling.
I'll say this: the Preacher's getting better at those shots where you're anticipating one thing to happen, and then all of a sudden something else goes on. And
yeah.
They've done it constantly throughout the series, but they've really taken it to a different level. I mean, they pull in real tight, and you have all the drama, and then TC just drops in back, and he's like, "Yeah, let's do something."
What are y'all waiting for?
What are y'all waiting for? And then they explode, and it's a pretty good fight scene. Werewolves of London, a great use of a song.
And like I've mentioned before, one of the things that the show has done really well is the choice of music for action fight scenes. Almost to the point where it seems like it's like I was talking to you earlier. It's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, where the soundtrack is as much a part of the cast as Chris Pratt and Zoe Saldana. It's finally coming, isn't it? You were warning us about that. But no, the music choice, like for Werewolves of London here, My Sweet Lord and the fight scene in the season 2 finale, the fight scene with the Hare Krishnas earlier in this season. The music choices has always been an amazing, amazing thing. I can't hear you.
That's not good.
I can hear you now a little bit. Okay.
There you go. I'm back.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Coming in now. There you go. It had to adapt. I'm sorry.
No worries.
All right. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry, had to cough. It was a bad one.
So the music has been they've a really good. Whoever's picking the music for these scenes is doing a great job, and that's one of the things that I'm really loving about the show ever since the second season, when there wasn't much I loved about the show.
That is true, and when there's not a lot to love, at least there's that. The fight goes on pretty good. I like when it gets into the bathroom and it becomes bathroom improvised weapons. Okay, and TC whips up a hair dryer, toilet roll, nail polish, flamethrower, which is very well crafted.
That was pretty badass.
And Tulip replies with toothbrush and eyelash curler.
Yeah.
Eyelash curler. And I about pissed myself. I was like, eyelash curler, perfect weapon.
Well, this is right. This is after she doused him with the hair remover.
Yes, got the hair remover on him.
And I love the fact that a little later on in the episode, you see him and he's missing like most of his eyebrow.
It's great. He looked like Buddy that one time we shaved half his eyebrow. We wanted to give him the choice whether to shave it off or to just cover it up.
Buddy.
He opted to go with the half eyebrow.
Nice. I'll see him this weekend. I'll see him on Sunday. I should remind him about that.
Tell Buddy I said hello. I miss Buddy. He should come on and be a guest. Tell him to be a guest on the show.
I'll see what we can do.
Yeah, I don't know if he watches Preacher or not, but we'll have him on as a guest. Who cares? So Tulip improvises with the toothbrush and the eyelash curler. Have you ever used an eyelash curler?
I have not.
Let me tell you what, I have very long eyelashes, apparently. I went to get glasses, and they had a hard time reading my eyes because of my eyelashes. So so the lady recommended that, we get an eyelash curler so we get the eyelashes out of my eyes.
Nice.
All right. I'm man enough to know that, this is something I got to do. I got to do it.
Yeah.
It's a torture device.
It doesn't look like it's fun to use.
It's not fun to use, and it doesn't fucking work. So whatever. Ladies, good on you, because that shit is hard.
Well, I mean, the things they go through to look beautiful. I mean, I most women don't need the makeup, but I mean, the fact that they will go through this, I mean, some women can do it in like 5-10 minutes, some can do it in an hour, but the things that women put themselves through, that's impressive.
But see, here's the thing with makeup. Ladies, oh my God, we're going to die tonight. If we're ever going to get banned because of a podcast, it'll be tonight. Here's the thing about the makeup. I'm not a big, huge fan of makeup. Kristen doesn't wear a lot of makeup, so that's good. But some of y'all are cheating. It's not what you look like. Really isn't. So stop with the cheating, because that's not cool.
A little bit of makeup is okay. I mean, if they're like plastering, if they need like a spackle tool to put on their makeup, then you're doing it wrong. It's
pretty rough. And blue eyeshadow should just be outlawed, period. It has to go. All right. So,
a lot of it at the concert recently.
Yeah, all right. At the B-52's concert, you can wear blue eyeshadow. That's fine. Like, because then you're kind of being a clown.
Yeah.
But if you're walking into the Piggly Wiggly here on a Thursday with the blue eyeshadow on, you're just being a clown.
Yeah.
And that's all. So.
I mean, it kind of like screams 80s. Yeah, the 80s look. So at a B-52's concert, it makes sense.
Sure. It was a rough decade. okay. I'm sorry. I'm glad you didn't have to live through it like I did. I mean, I know you were there, but you weren't deep into it like I was in the middle of that shit.
No.
Let me tell you what. Blue Eye Shadow. It's the devil's lettuce. It really is. All right, I liked it. So the fight goes downstairs, and Jody's carrying Jesse out, and Tulip pops the gun to his head, and then they have a little Mexican standoff. And then the Mexican standoff gets increased by the addition of Grandmama and her napkin, which she can just choke a bitch like Vader.
Yeah. And then, of course, TC shows up with a shotgun, and, before you know it, everyone's down there.
Everybody's just hanging out in the parlor while Jesse's choking on the floor.
Yeah. It really shows who's got the upper hand in that house.
That was TC's half eyebrow right there.
Yeah. Nice touch.
There's some stuff that goes on with Grandmama and TC that we really got to talk about later, because this episode takes a very disturbing turn at one point.
Just a little bit.
So the first time we see Jesse in the coffin, and right here after they got him on the floor. And this is all pre-credits. So good job on them. Lots of action pre-credits.
Yeah, they covered a lot.
And I've been sitting there, looking through the credits going, all right, we've seen that scene. And then there's a couple we still haven't seen, like Art's face yet. But then there's Jesse's scene has always baffled me because he was dressed like a cowboy.
Yeah.
And I always wonder where it was going to come from. And then today it came from this episode. And I got to say, not in a kind way.
Well, I remember seeing the shots of him in the cowboy outfit. I thought they were in color, so it didn't make any sense. But seeing the way they used it in this episode, it makes more sense. But it still just felt very out of place.
Let's get there 1 second here. First, we have to deal with Humperdew and the Queen. They're giving Humperdew some lessons on how to, act normal. And
if you're going to tout this guy out as the Messiah, he's got to at least be able to interact with some people.
I don't want to know if the actor that does Humperdew, is it a prosthetic eye? What is going on? Because I want to know.
Yeah, I don't know. Might be something
I don't know
either.
Into. Like, if this guy is just multi-talented and like he can go like, I can make my eyes wonky, good on him. Because if that's fake, man, it's good.
Yeah, it really is.
Good job on the Humperdew, and that brings us to the All-Father.
Yeah, the first time we mentioned, we get the mention of the All-Father, and we get Masada, which technically I don't think the All-Father should be in Masada. He should be at the other location, but I mean,
why is the one clock off?
What one clock?
One of the clocks is off. All right, I get it. They're all different time zones, but they should all be the same time. They should be 40 minutes after, because that's what the time zones are, right?
Which one is off?
The one on the far right is at 10 after 9.
Huh.
Yeah.
Nothing. Maybe somebody just fucked up.
There's 7:40, 7:40, 6:40, 11:40, 12:40, 9:40. They're all at 40, and that one's at 10 after 9.
Huh. Maybe somebody just messed up.
Interesting. But I don't know that it's a mess up. It could be quite intentional.
It could be something more to it, but at this point, it's a clock, and I don't think we're missing too much by not really paying attention to that.
So we get the All-Father in all his obese glory, having himself a little snack. His staples didn't take, so he killed his gastroenterologist, which was what did our star say? He said, that's appropriate and fair.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's what you should have done, is killed him. The All-Father's a bit different in this than he is in the comics, and Adam hates him. And
it's not that I hate. It's not that I hate him, but I don't.
You hate him.
I don't know, the prosthetics look funny. He doesn't look. I mean, granted, try to find a guy that's that size, and you're not going to find anybody. But I mean, the makeup effects just look really wonky.
I'll give you that. And he's much more menacing in the comic.
Yeah,
he's a much scarier dude. He's not so flippant and kind of jokey.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, in the comic book, he's very calculating. You know, he looks like this large obese man that you wouldn't expect to take seriously, but the guy is smart as shit and is brutal, and has no problems killing people for doing the simplest things wrong. I mean, for a guy that works for an organization that is all about protecting the bloodline of Christ and protecting the Messiah that they're going to bring out when Armageddon strikes, he is just an evil person. But in this, we don't kind of get that. He seems very, like you said, flippant and kind of jokey.
He's got a sense of the wisecrack.
He does.
Yeah, I don't dig it. I want my All-Father to be more menacing, but given what the show is, we have some theories about what the All-Father's got, because he says things like that'll send a lot of people to hell, and that's a part of maybe hell's expansion plan.
Yeah,
because he wants. They've been training Humperdew to survive in this world as the new Messiah, and all they've trained him to do is a little soft shoe. And,
but what about that singing voice on Hoover, though, man?
Hoover's got the voice, right?
He does.
I didn't even know. The guy's on Timeless. He never sang. Go Hoover.
That's right. He is the guy on Timeless, isn't he?
He is.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot. I didn't even recognize him.
True story.
Holy crap! Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, he never sang on Timeless. So I was like, wow, all right, go Hoover.
I didn't see the second season, but
yeah, that show died and just
did it? That's a shame.
It was its own petard, really. I mean, if you do a show where you fuck with the fabric of time and then stuff changes and then you try to, you're fucked.
Yeah,
you're done. You've already screwed yourself. You made it too complicated.
Yeah, time travel is a hard concept to play with, because if you don't do it right, it's just a mess.
And it started out, I had all the hope in the world, like I really dug what they were doing, but then no.
There are very few stories that do time travel right. Very few people know how to work with time travel.
Let's think of a few that have failed. Lost.
Terminator.
Heroes.
The Terminator franchise.
The Terminator again, but they did it right the first time.
They did it right the first time, yeah, but then they just kept fucking with it.
It's when you take that extra scoop, that's when you start fucking everything up. Like a series is too much. If you want to do a movie, Time Cop is a perfectly good movie. Go Jean-Claude Van Damme.
That's right.
I'm totally down with that, because it's set in the confines of a 2-hour structure, and you can't fuck up too much.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of 2 writers or 2 people that have done some great stuff with time travel. Robert Zemeckis with Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, sure.
And Jeff Johns for DC Comics. He wrote some amazing time travel stuff with like The Flash and things like that, where, he wrote stories that elements played out over the course of years along these storylines, and stuff would come back and just like, oh shit, I forgot that like he went into the future at this point. Now they're finally catching up to where he's actually at, or somebody comes back and changes something. I mean, some great stuff with time travel where it wasn't like hokey and clunky. It actually made perfect sense, and it really accented the story and just made it all make sense. It was some brilliant stuff.
All right, that's cool. What book was it? Flash.
Yeah.
All right. I never read one Flash.
His Rogues War story. It started with the introduction of Zoom, and it culminated like in the Rogues War storyline, like maybe a year later. But there was some great stuff throughout that storyline. I
mean, Casa Soprano was chock full of Marvel. There wasn't a ton of DC books in there. So
yeah, I remember that.
I'm very more pro Marvel than I am DC, and I know more about Marvel because of that. So.
Well, I'm Marvel movies, but I'm DC Comics.
Yeah, but you've always been DC Comics.
Well, I mean, I read a lot of Marvel for a long time, but it got to the point where just Marvel stopped making any sense.
All right. I came in with, Steve gave me Preacher was the first thing he gave me. And he was
started off strong.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, you'll like this," because I was just, Shay's friend. And Preacher was my first comic, and that, that's love right there.
Yeah, I mean, Preacher is one of the 2 or 3 books that I will recommend to anybody if they ever say, like, "Hey, what can you tell me to read?"
Like most of my comics,
something like that.
Most of my comics are gone. I have 3 of the Preacher hard or soft covers. I have 7, 8, and 9.
Okay.
I think Mark Adams has 1 through 6.
Nice.
I have
my still in there in California.
I have my Michael Straczynski Rising Star hardcover.
Nice, a good book.
And I have 2 hardcovers of Garth Ennis Punisher.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And Danger Girl.
Danger Girl.
Because I love Danger Girl.
Little J. Scott Campbell for you.
Dude, you want to know how much I love Danger Girl? Watch this. Hang on.
If your statue, yeah.
Bam! There's my Abby right there on my table.
Is that the action? Is that the statue or the action figure?
That's the statue.
Nice.
I hope you can't see anything illegal. That's a bad idea.
Yeah, that was a nice. I mean, I loved J. Scott Campbell. His artwork was always great. Storytelling wasn't always the best, but if he could have put out Danger Girl on time and got that story out within a timely fashion, that'd have been awesome.
If you're still paying attention to this Preacher podcast, it has de-evolved into this episode was so just unnecessary. We have decided to talk Danger Girl instead.
So what about James Gunn, huh?
Oh, wow, that's rough.
Oh, man, that sucks.
You got what we're now calling hardwicked. It's officially.
Oh, no, like Hardwick, like the Hardwick thing. That was. I mean, this is political assassination. Is what happened to James Gunn.
You think so?
Oh, definitely. Have you seen the people that actually dug up these old tweets of his? One of the guys, has his own tweets, which are like, talking about date rape and, like going out with this Indian girl and, whipping his dick out because she didn't want to have sex with him. So he just like jerked off in front of her while she was, watching him because he could. And I'm like, okay, you're going to bust James Gunn's balls for some bad jokes he told 10 years ago. And yet you're a piece of shit yourself. I mean, come on.
Well, every time I think about whipping my dick out, I get the Jay and Silent Bob Angels pop up.
I was thinking the same thing.
Put the dick down.
Yeah. I was thinking the exact same thing, man. Yeah. Earlier today, we were watching Below Deck, which is a show about stewardesses on yachts. I remember you telling me about that. Yeah.
Right. So there's a guy, and they have a big slide off the yacht, and the guy's standing up there, and he's like, "Go, one at a time to the people." And both Kristen and I look at each other and give her the hand sign, like, "No, stop." Because the James Vanderbeek thing from How I Met Your Mother, remember?
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, go, stop."
I just saved your life.
There's a guy dead now. Now you got to pile up. What are you going to do? Go, stop. I'm not there. People die. Yeah. We both did it each other at the exact same time. It was hysterical.
I love that show.
Yeah, it was a good show.
I was talking to somebody today about online dating and like the fact that pretty much every guy out there just sends dick pics, and we were wondering why. I'm like, it's the online version of the naked man. It works 2 out of 3 times. It works every time.
I don't think so. I think the naked man still works more than a dick pic.
Well, the naked. Well, I mean, this is the online version of it. The fact that it's not a 2 out of 3 ratio with online, but if you could, these guys aren't going out with actual women, so they're just throwing it out there to see if it actually sticks.
I did it to Kristen one day. It works.
Oh, that's awesome.
2 out of 3 times.
The naked man.
Yeah, I did it in tribute.
I need to watch that show again. I think Netflix took it off though.
Yeah, they did. That was dumb. So let's get back to this episode here real quick. Tulip's tied up upstairs with the chain on her leg. Jody comes up to do some crossword puzzling. Yeah. He's not very good if he doesn't know what preambulate 4 letters means. It means to walk.
Yeah.
People are fucking. All right. So Grandmama comes in and they have a little chitty chat, and it's very nice and pleasant. And TC's telling Tulip, "No, man, you shouldn't do stuff like that. You shouldn't do it. It's bad. It's not that bad." All right, I got to get forward in this episode because it gets
TC's
so
very
weird.
TC's very sweet on Grandma. A little too sweet, if you know what I mean.
I don't know the exact relationship between the two. I don't.
Well, apparently there, it looks like there's some a little of the old in out going on, previously.
Well, yeah, and apparently he's having a little trouble with his stand-up soldier, as it were, and that's going to lead to a bad time.
Well, I mean, the fact that they can't show TC as being as perverted as he is in the comic books, they've got to find a new way to show who he is as a character.
Okay, but if you showed me a guy fucking a chicken, and then you show me a guy trying to fuck his grandma, I'm gonna be like, okay, he fucked a chicken, so he fucked his grandma.
Well, it's not his grandma though.
Showing me.
It's not his grandma though. They're not related.
Man, it's a thin line they're walking.
Well, I mean, no, Jody and TC their families have always worked for the Langels. At least that's the way they described it. Jody and TC are her right-hand man. They're her, they're her enforcers. They're the ones that go out and do the stuff that she can't do because she's a frail old woman in a wheelchair.
Do you think that is clearly drawn to the viewers of the television show?
Yeah, I mean, they've never established them as being family.
Okay. I don't think Kristen was like, what the hell? Yeah, I don't think it's very clear to the TV audience.
Because I mean, they always make a big deal of how Jesse is, that's her they're family. They've never established a familial relationship between Jody, TC, and Grandma. I've never, and as far as people that read the comic books, we know that. But even like the show has really never said, hey, they're all family. Jody and TC are employees. When it comes down to it.
All right, I suppose that's fine, but it doesn't take the creepy out of it.
No. It's still creepy as shit. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending.
You can defend it. No, you can defend it all you want. I know what's going on here.
I'm just saying they're not keeping it in the family, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay. It's awful. All right, so they went back to.
But even worse though is the whole role playing aspect of it. I mean, the whole Civil War. If your daddy found out if you're with a commoner, what would he think?
I've done that too. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I do not have that. I have a racist Southern character that I pull out when we go to Charleston. Because the thing about Charleston is very in your face about it. Like the slave market is right in the middle of town. And that's what it was, and that is what it is still called. Though they now call it city market. But anybody that lives there says, "Oh, you're looking for the slave market." That's right down here. And I'm walking through there, right? And it's full of trinkets and basket weaving and bullshit now. But I'm walking through there going, like, they sold people here.
Jesus Christ.
Like for real in life, they sold people here, and it's unfathomable to me.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, so I'm not wearing the outfit and doing the cosplay for that. No,
good for you. I mean, you got to draw a line somewhere.
Elephant tranquilizers. That's where I draw the line. Elephant tranquilizer.
Yeah, Cassidy has elephant tranks. Yeah.
Cassidy visits a vet when he's in New Orleans, and Bird Girl 666 on the Bite Me app. He gives himself a little date.
Good for him. I mean,
right? It's cute.
Yeah, he after last episode he realizes he can't have Tulip, so he's got to get some loving somewhere. And what better way than on a vampire-centric dating app?
Sounds like a perfect setup. I can't wait till the date.
Yeah.
However, before the date, we have to go back to the bottom of a lake. And at the bottom of the lake,
bottom of the swamp.
All right. Lake was, all right. It was generous.
Yeah.
All right. So at the bottom of the swamp, there's a man. Is it a normal man? No, it's not a normal man. He is Jesse motherfucking MacGyver.
And it's funny. I mean, the interesting job of the showing how much time he's actually spent in that coffin by all the shit he's scratched under the top of that lid.
Right.
The one thing that didn't, and the one thing, like, again, we haven't gotten a lot of like young Jesse backstory other than the first season where we get a really young Jesse and his dad, but we haven't seen much of Jesse as a teenager in Angelville. So they're in a big carving in the top of the coffin. There was Tulip,
right? Which
I'm guessing happened at some point when he was younger. So, we don't know at what point he was ripped away from Anvil and taken to Angelville. So, had Tulip been that huge of an influence in his life at that point where he would have scratched her name onto the coffin? There's a lot of backstory to tell. Yeah. Well, I mean, she was a childhood friend, but as far as we really knew, she was just a friend. When they were in kids, they got into trouble together, they were at school together, that kind of stuff. But they never really said that she was that huge of a part of his life that he would have scratched her name into a coffin with who knows what at that point. He was probably in his early teens. What did he have in the coffin with him to scratch it other than his fingernails, maybe? So who knows?
I'll tell you what he has. He has another thing they have not set up very well, which is a lighter that says "fuck communism." Oh, God. Now, right? I'm so glad he has the lighter because the lighter helps him get out of the coffin. However, if you explain where the lighter came from, then everything that happens in the fucking coffin makes sense.
Well, here's the other thing too, though. Here's the other thing is, with the current timeline, the lighter makes no fucking sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. Because it would have had to belong to like his grandfather to have to been a thing, because his dad wouldn't have been fighting communism.
Right.
So
and maybe that was the fault, or the I'm gonna blame it on Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg for setting it in current instead of setting it when the book was released.
Yeah.
If they'd have just set it in that time frame, the only ones you got to deal with are Jesse and Tulip most of the time anyways. Cassidy's going to look the same no matter what the fucking decade is. So I think they could have done it and saved that story.
You could have made it a story set in the 90s. And, then that lighter would have made sense.
Now, for those of you not in know, not that anybody's watching, that lighter comes from John Wayne, handed to Jesse's dad in Vietnam.
Yes.
So if you understand that John Wayne is the voice inside Jesse's head for most of the comic book, then John Wayne makes perfect sense in the coffin.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, that just cements the whole John Wayne aspect of in the comic book, is that this is the voice of Jesse's conscience. This is the guiding force that helped him when his dad wasn't there, that kind of watched over him. Yeah, to help watch over him and to guide him along his path of becoming a man. So the fact that his dad got this letter from John Wayne, and the fact that he was raised on John Wayne movies makes sense as to why John Wayne is such a central figure in Jesse's life. In the show, however, John Wayne means fuck all.
Fuck all. He means nothing to any of you.
We got one reference of John Wayne in maybe the second season, when we see flashbacks of like Jesse and Tulip living, with some roommate between jobs, and Jesse's like kind of sitting on his ass watching like John Wayne movies. That's the only time they ever mention John Wayne in the series. And then we get John Wayne in the coffin And it's like, what the fuck is going on here? Because this makes absolutely no sense whatsoever now.
Right, now we have a high noon cutaway scene that's in the soft black and white. The bad guys keep on coming, and him and the Duke keep taking them down, and we get the metaphor. It's fine. But yeah, again, if you set up the Duke better, then this all makes sense, but it doesn't.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. When I heard that voice, when I heard that drawl, I'm like, there was a part of me that was kind of hopeful. Because,
sure, I mean, fanboy inside me was ecstatic.
Exactly, because they keep giving you little things. They keep giving the comic book fans little things, little Easter eggs, little bits of like saying, hey, you know what, we haven't completely forgotten about you, but for the most part, fuck you.
Right.
We're going to give you just this little bit to remind you that, hey, we did read the comic book at one point, but that's all we're doing. So that's kind of what this whole scene was for me. It was like, hey, we know you're out there. We don't care. But we're going to give you a little bit anyways, just to show you, that we do like you, kind of.
Kind of. A little bit. Mostly we don't.
No, I mean, like if you read the book, like John Wayne is heavy in the story, especially in certain parts. He's not there all the time, but even when he's not there, you kind of get that John Wayne influence in the way Jesse is. You can see John Wayne in Jesse Custer. But they've taken that out of this storyline, and it doesn't make any sense to bring him in now because why? It makes it what's the point?
When you had Jesse Custer dealing with trying to be this good man that he really doesn't feel that he is. He feels inside and truly believes that he's a bad person at heart. But God is now giving him Genesis and this and that, and he's on this road. So on this road to find God, John Wayne being, a huge voice in his head was perfect. And here it falls very flat, very flat.
It does. I mean, yeah, it seems like, John Wayne seems to only come out now when he's like at the worst point of his life. He's stuck in a coffin in the bottom of a swamp. At that point, if we don't know how long he'd been down there for, maybe a couple hours at this point. So, it wasn't like the fact that he was hallucinating or, just starting to lose his mind.
Okay, but here's the one thing I am happy about with that scene is that the answer to how to get out of the coffin didn't come from John Wayne. He was already working on his way out, and he was dealing with John Wayne as his emotional issue instead of giving him the way out of the box, because that would have been shit.
Yeah, no. But there was a line in there that I'm not quite sure if it means anything or not. When one of the outlaws asks him, what's your plan this time? And then John Wayne says, Texas. Does that mean anything? Because Texas was a big part of the comic books and, who Jesse was. Is that going to mean anything in this book, in this show? Because, they spent more time in New Orleans than they've needed to.
Well, yeah, I understand why they're in New Orleans. They wanted, but 2 seasons was too long.
Yeah,
we needed to get.
Well, I mean, technically, a good chunk of this season's been in Louisiana.
All right, it's not New, but it's still Louisiana. Yeah, it's close enough. But we need Cassidy to go on his date, and that's why we need to be close to New Orleans.
And okay, so again, going back to Cassidy's date really quick, and just like a throwaway thing, I don't know if it means anything, but the shirt he was wearing said cowboy.
Cowboy, yeah.
Again, something they've completely thrown away from the characters. Yeah, so it's almost like they're teasing the fans, like, haha, here's something else that you're never gonna see.
So this date, I want to get into this for a minute.
Date was hilarious.
It was a good date. First he's like, so how long you been a vampire? She's like, 200 years. And he's like, oh well, shit, you look great. And he said 87 years for him. Yeah. And he said, well, I would have missed a man on the moon. And
Quaaludes.
Quaaludes and a man with a beard of bees, for example. I like that. So date's going well. He's
going really well.
He does what you normally do on these blind Tinder dates. Takes her to the bathroom to bang. and she pops out her denture pack. I have one of those boxes, except it holds my fucking teeth.
Yeah, hers holds her fangs.
Yeah, she pops in her fangs, and then you realize, oh, not a vampire for 200 years. And to quote Chrissy Hines, she shot her mouth off. Cassidy showed her what that hole was for.
Yeah. Cassidy didn't seem to take too kindly to being played. I don't know if he was actually expecting to find a real vampire or what.
Would have been nice.
But what?
Weren't you looking for love? Weren't you hoping he found some love?
Of course I was. But considering how rare the vampires were in this storyline, I think over the course of the storyline, we met 3 vampires, including Cassidy. So it's not like the vampire community is a large community in this world. Vampires seem to be a rare creature.
And I think we're going to deal with that a lot next episode, I believe.
Yeah, and to be fair, I'm glad that the vampires weren't a huge thing, because if you start getting the religious aspect, covers a very large supernatural spectrum. But to throw in like vampires, if they'd have brought in a werewolf, I might have been out. But having a vampire, just one vampire, that's fine. If it had been like hundreds, if it had been like the Cullen clan from Twilight, fuck that shit. No.
Oh, but they twinkle and sparkle so shit.
But yeah, so then Cassidy, after seeing her pop in her fake fangs, he decides to show her the real thing. And
speaking of real things, she had real things.
Yeah. Then she proceeded to freak the fuck out when Cassidy kind of told her what's going on.
Yeah, Cassidy kind of popped the script on her, and he popped his fangs all natural. Yeah. And she didn't know what to do. I believe she might have stained her shorts.
Maybe. She did seem to run out of there in a hurry.
But she's going to come back, in case you don't notice at the end. Yeah. She will return.
Yeah, Cassidy didn't seem to be too happy after that by, the fact that he ordered 2 bottles of booze and started pounding, elephant tranquilizers.
He has a LOL tattoo on his hand.
He does, yeah.
Yeah. All right, yeah. He sits at the bar, orders a couple bottles, down some elephant tranquilizers, and
he's gonna go down in style if he's and I'm assuming as a vampire it probably takes an awful lot to really put him down.
I would imagine that's the elephant tranquilizer.
Yeah, and not just one. He took like 5. So
he chewed a few. And having a nosh and reading The Haunted Mansions of New Orleans, Featherstone in her I Love Swamp Boat shirt.
I didn't love Featherstone in the comic books, but I love her in this show.
She did, yeah. I really enjoy the character in the show.
They have definitely done a lot more with this character than they did in the books, and they've made her somewhat interesting.
Because in the comics she was pretty much just in love with Air Star.
Yeah, she was kind of like this, like she was like
full-on flunky.
She was like a school marm, who was just devoted to Star, was in love with Star, and was a very kind of dull character. But they have done amazing things with Featherstone in the show, and I really enjoy the stuff that I really enjoy whenever she's on screen. She's actually pretty funny.
Yeah, she's pretty magnetic. I like the bit when they're shooting the videotape of him, and she keeps trying to prop him up, and he just keeps sliding off.
Well, I like the like when she first goes to Star and she's like, "Hey, I've got an idea. It might seem kind of crazy," and Star just brushes her off. And then after
the time for crazy ideas is done.
Yeah, and then after the second conversation with the Allfather, she's like, "I've got an idea," and he's like, "Oh, okay, let's do it now." Yeah, good on her for not giving up on her idea. Sticking with your convictions, that works. But
however, her plan was ripped asunder.
It was, but she could have anticipated that one.
They didn't anticipate that. Why is that? Why is the Grail not aware of Les Enfants du Sang?
Because they're probably not, paying attention to every like stupid little group of wannabe vampires in the country. Because, post Twilight, there's probably millions of them. However, there's probably only one group that has a real vampire working with them.
Yeah, probably just. My thoughts on this Alfonso saying is like they're like the goth kids that hang out at Disneyland.
Well, I mean, like from what we've seen from like the trailer for next week, like they don't seem like in the comic books they were kind of menacing. Like they were, at least the higher ups in the group, were people that had some kind of power, some influence over people. They weren't just a bunch of like loners and wannabes hanging out together just because they had nowhere else to go. This group kind of seems like they could be that.
Yeah, this looks like I don't want to say chubby girls in corsets, but I'm going to say chubby girls in corsets.
Well, although Cassie's date was a vampire. She was a vampire
Renaissance fair.
She wasn't a chubby girl in a corset. She was pretty cute.
She was pretty cute, but that's TV version, so of course they're going to be cute. But if you ran into this group in New Orleans, chubby girls in corsets.
Yeah.
All right, more Duke. Too much, and then there's too much John Wayne. How can there be too much of something that didn't exist up until this episode?
Yeah, they were just much of it. They were trying to make up for all the John Wayne we didn't get in the first 2 seasons by just like beating you over the head with the Duke this time. It's like, here, fucking have some more Duke.
I mean, one scene earlier would have set all this up.
Yeah.
No, we don't have that.
But they spend a lot of time in Jesse's little fantasy world.
Yeah, so Jesse's in his coffin, and he devises the cigarette color flame of whatever. Good job, MacGyver. You got out.
Yeah.
And just in time, as Tulip and Granny are having a tussle.
Yeah, they're having a knockdown drag out there in the parlor.
We're going to skip ahead in the episode as I'm watching it because what's coming up is the disturbing TC and Grandma scene, and we've already covered that.
We've talked about that one, yeah.
We're just going to move past
I'm comfortable skipping that one, yeah.
Yeah, we're moving past that to where the fight broke out. So first of all, let's talk about Granny without her wig. That's fairly accurate.
Exactly. I was gonna say, that's what she should look like. I mean, the way she draw her on the compo, like she was this, she looked like she was, the bad guy from the Poltergeist 2 movie, like that skeleton looking, that's kind of what she was. She was a woman that probably should have been dead 30 years prior, but some supernatural force is keeping her alive. Not voodoo, because there was no voodoo in the comic books. Well, there was actually, but came from a different story altogether.
Whole different thing.
Yeah, so now that whole storyline's going to be thrown out because then they can't really explain having another voodoo practitioner. That would just be stupid. But yeah, she was this like old woman, decrepitly old woman, like no hair, just skin hanging off her bones because there's no muscle on her. I mean, and now they take the wig off, she looks more like the Granny that I expect.
Absolutely. Kudos to Betty Buckley. That was the mom from Eight Is Enough, kids. I mean, just saying.
And like I said, they give the comic readers just enough to say, hey, look it, we know some of this stuff, but we're not going to really deal with any of this stuff.
Right. Yeah. Here's fuck communism, but we're not going to explain that. Here's Granny without her wig that looks perfect, but it's still not quite right. Because right before you get that, you have to endure her kissing TC.
Yeah.
It's horrifying.
It's almost as bad as that scene in Game of Thrones where Melisandre takes off her necklace.
No, it's not. I'd rather look at old haggard Melisandre in the bathtub than I would TC making out with Grandma. No.
Both scenes were cringeworthy scenes. I mean, but yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from.
So Tulip chokes out, and this is probably my favorite joke of the episode, though. Tulip, after she chokes out Granny, Jesse runs in and starts pounding on her chest, giving her the CPR. And TC comes in and be like, "Oh man, they're bonding together. You're pumping on the wrong one."
Yeah, you're saving the wrong one. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jesse's
and like I said, I knew this from the first episode when Jess even threatened Grandma, and she's like, "Well, try it and see what happens." I knew that they were linked. It just made perfect sense, because that would have been too easy of an out if they just said, "Okay, you know what? If you can kill Grandma, boom, you can get away." They had to make it more difficult for them to get away.
Right. It couldn't just be that easy just to walk out. So
yeah, exactly.
Now we're stuck here until we figure out how to actually get the curse off. And,
yeah, because they got to find a way to separate Grandma and Tulip, because if Grandma doesn't look like she has a whole lot of time left unless she can get a few souls in her, and if she's linked to Tulip, then Tulip's screwed.
Well, I mean, she's not Uma Thurman. We learned that. I admired the fact that they just point blank said, "Yep, we stole this from Pulp Fiction."
Yeah.
Do you have adrenaline? Oh yeah. Is this gonna work? I don't know. She's not Uma Thurman.
Yeah, TC makes his own adrenaline. He has his own adrenaline shots lying around, because why not? Well, I mean, he uses them for the fight, so I mean, they're for the tombs.
That scene is on my TV right
now. Look away! Cover your eyes.
I'm just looking right at you, camera. This is my time to talk directly to the people. Oh my God!
Maintain eye contact.
I'm not looking away. It's okay. I'll get through it. Yeah. So they got Granny back, and now they have this. They got to get her a lot of souls. Apparently, the Boyds have a stockpile. So they're going to go get the stockpile of souls from the Boyds, get them a lot of souls all at once.
Well, yeah, I mean, there a couple episodes back when you first see Tulip go to Madame Boyd, when she's finishing up, like she takes that little vial of souls and puts it in a box that says, Bank of New Orleans or something like that. They've got a bank to store souls. Really? They got a bank.
Hey, they got a bank for Harry Potter's money. They got a bank for anything. All right.
Well, I mean, the Japanese just roll around in an armored truck. So come on. I guess having a bank's probably safer to store your souls in an armored truck.
I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah. Do you earn interest on souls?
Do souls appreciate or depreciate?
Yeah, it's a good question. That's a damn good question. Like I said, can I open up an account, like deposit a little bit of my soul for like late if I need it later? Maybe have it earn some interest, and like in 20 years I come back with like a stronger soul. I don't know.
It's like a baby soul, like a clean soul. Is that worth more?
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Although they might be harder to get out. I really don't know. But I wonder if it's like, blood banks where you can like stave up your own blood, like if you need surgery later on. Can you like save up part of your soul in case something bad happens to you? Like, okay, look I've got soul from when I was like not an asshole, and now I'm an asshole. So like, if I inject myself with non-asshole soul, do I, get some karma back? How does that work?
We're bordering on the realm of Austin Powers mojo at this point.
Yeah, there's some interesting things to consider here.
There are, and I like I said, I don't know what a soul is worth. I guess it depends on how much you believe in your soul.
Well, if I remember correctly from last season, they the Japanese paid heavily for souls.
Okay, and that's fine. Jesse needs his soul so he can get his voice back. Yeah. Genesis back. So they show some importance here, but we haven't seen an actual. I guess I don't know if they appreciate or depreciate. And there's got to be a broker of some sort. If the Japanese were willing to pay, there's got to be a market. So somebody's setting a price. Yeah,
and as far as I can tell, we've never seen anybody have like their complete soul removed. It's always just like a little piece of soul. So.
No, that's not true. That's not true. We've all seen Dane cook.
Shit. It's pretty fucked up, man, but true.
Thank you.
Okay, we haven't seen anybody on the show have their soul completely removed.
No, we have not. Sorry. I was proud of that one.
Yeah, see, every time I think of Dane Cook now, I'm going to think of his like bit part from American Gods. Him dying with his dick getting bit off.
That's it. That's all you need.
Yeah. That's about right. You know, that's kind of how I want Dane Cook to go.
When's season 2 of American Gods come out?
Should be sometime, maybe later this year.
Yeah, we ought to be like maybe September, November. I don't know. I'm looking forward to that too. That show was really good.
I love the book.
I never read the book.
So it's a really interesting story. It's really good, and the show's done a pretty good job so far of sticking to it. So I really like that.
All right. We don't talk about that one much, but no, we will. So this fight boils down to the end of the episode, right? Yeah, where they decide they need a soul, and it's going to be Tulip. And so they all start banging into each other. They hook her up to the machine. And then Jesse has this big, what if we get all of them kind of thing. So, yeah, that's where it's fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
I need some Eugene in my life. And I hope you said there's some Eugene in next week.
I think we get some Eugene next week. We get some Saint and Eugene.
I need some of that. I need it bad.
We get Les Enfants next week. We get Icarius.
All right. It should be fun. This season's not bad. It's better than last season. I like it much better than last season.
I will give you that. I do like it better than last season, but that was a very low bar.
Yeah, and this is very slow progressing season.
Yeah, last season was set a very low bar for the series. So
I agree.
It doesn't take a whole lot to get better than last season.
I just don't. If viewership is low and this season's dragging, I don't know how they can possibly finish this story.
I mean,
I see us being disappointed as fan base and just being given half a preacher, and it's always been the problem with it. It's so long to do everything in the book would take forever. Like legitimately, you'd be on like 9 seasons of Preacher.
Yeah, I mean, if they could handle an episode, an issue, a one issue per episode, you could do it in 60 episodes. You know, I mean, Preacher was not a long series.
It's like 28 pages in a comic, right?
Yeah. Well, actually,
something like that.
Most of them usually 22 pages. Yeah.
All right, 22. You should be able to accomplish that in an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean,
but they spent a whole season in prequel mode.
Yeah.
So we had nothing to base how long it took to do one episode or one issue per episode because they just never gave us a base for it. I would love to see a show actually try to attempt that.
Yeah.
Just to faithfully just put up one issue each episode. That would be big, like.
And you know, it would be a good show to try that with.
Transmetropolitan.
No. I was thinking I had a different idea, but thinking on it might not work because issue to issue wasn't the best storytelling, but as an overall story, it was really good. 100 Bullets.
Yeah.
100 Bullets as a whole story was a great story, but Brian Azzarello is awful when it comes to breaking down stories. Between issue to issue, like his breakdowns are fucking horrible. Like he'll leave you like right in the middle of a scene and then come back to it's like, it's almost like, he needed one additional page to like finish up where that book should have ended before jumping into the next issue. But like he'd cut you like right in the middle of something, it was pretty bad. But like overall, 100 Bullets is an amazing story. And I'd love to see them adapt that into a TV series. If they could do that really well, that could be a really fun series.
So I started watching Cloak and Dagger.
How was that?
I based it on my love of the Runaways and how good Runaways was. And they did a really fantastic job with Runaways. Now, I've never read Cloak and Dagger, so this is all new to me. And I dig it.
Okay. I see that it's on Hulu, so I might wait until the season's done before I watch it.
I think it's almost done. I think there's 2 more episodes to go.
Okay.
But it's I don't want to call it slow because it is slow, but it's these 2 characters, figuring out that they have power.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It is,
and their powers are tied to each other. Yeah.
Right, and it's kind of a slow burn because they're not, in each other's neighborhoods. So yeah, it's pretty good. Not bad.
One of the shows that I didn't watch that I kind of wanted to see that actually got picked up for another season was Gifted.
Gifted was great.
Or is it? Okay, yeah, I've heard good things.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of that.
Yeah, it was kind of it's the X-Men show that we kind of wanted, and I heard good things, but I just haven't seen it yet. But I do want to check it out.
Yeah, it's very good. It's very well cast. I think everybody's like John Proud stars in it. I mean, it's really
there's a lot of a lot of known characters in that show. Yeah,
they do a good job with Blink. And I'm an X-Files or Exiles guy. Yeah, I loved that book. So when I saw Blink, I was really happy.
I still need to watch the 2nd season of Legion.
Yeah, I didn't watch the 2nd season of that. It was hard to follow.
I love that 1st season though.
So hard to follow. Rough show.
But here's the thing though, is like based on the comic book that it was based on, it was perfect because the character is schizophrenic. The character is he's head fucked. So the way the show was all over the place, it was almost like watching the story from this character's point of view, which I thought was, and like I like Noah Hawley. I like the Fargo series. I think he's a great writer and is an interesting storyteller. And I think he did justice with the character. And I mean, I love Aubrey Plaza, so I will watch her in just about anything she does.
That's fair.
And she was fantastic in that 1st season. But it was, and Jermaine Clement, showing up in that season was surprising, but entertaining as shit. But yeah, it was that 1st season was I really liked it.
Yeah, I would recommend finding a way to watch The Gifted. It was.
Yeah, I got to find out where it's streaming.
Yeah, it was a damn fun show. I know it was Fox. I don't know if Fox streams episodes.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But yeah, that was really good. The girl that's in it, Natalie something or other, she is super cute. And and she's just a little tiny thing with just a great body. She's super cute. And the girl that does Polaris is also very attractive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've seen the previews. So I mean, I know Jamie Chung was she Blink?
She's Blink, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and Stephen Moyer's in it, and
yeah, he's a non-powered. He's the dad of the kids.
And isn't Amy Acker's the mom, right?
Yeah, I think so. That's her name.
I love Amy Acker.
She's cute. She's good looking.
And she's been in some shows that I really liked. I loved her in Dollhouse. I loved her in Person of Interest.
I never watched Person of Interest.
Person of Interest was an interesting show, but like Amy Acker has a way of playing like some interesting characters, and she does, she's great at some of these like oddball characters. Like she was great in Dollhouse as the doctor. She was really crazy in Person of Interest, so that was a very interesting to see her play that role. But yeah, I've always liked Amy Acker.
Cool. All right, I'm tired, bro. It's late.
I hear you. It's about time to call it.
Yeah, we're gonna call an end to this one. This was a fine episode of the show. Worthless episode, Preacher. And hopefully next week will be far more entertaining. So until then, love many, trust few, and do harm to no one. Bye, everybody.